Call it whatever you want, but it's still Capital One Bowl mania. And you know what? Let's make some bowl predictions, Drew. Let's make some bowl predictions.
A lot of things have changed since our last conversation, and I mean a lot of things have transpired.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm heated. I am definitely heated. Like I said, I was going to be if a certain thing did happen. So yeah, I'm gonna contain my energy until that thing happens. As a matter of fact, let me close this door because I feel like I'm gonna get a little loud. Yeah, I'm hot right now, but yeah, let's start with these picks, and we'll start with I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of fun with these names.
Oh yeah.
The Myrtle Beach Bowl between Appalachian State and North Texas.
Hmm. The Myrtle Beach Bowl. I've never been to Myrtle Beach. I heard it's a nice place, and I think it's one of the Carolinas. um, Interesting. North Texas. I think they were pretty good last year. Not so sure about this year. I know Appalachian State. They've had an up and down roller coaster year as usual, and I mean I still don't think they're a bad team. So I think that the Appalachian State, whatever their name is, they are going to take this one. They are definitely going to beat North Texas in the Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Mountaineers too in this one. Appalachian State, and by the way, this game is in the lovely confines of Conway, South Carolina,
There you go.
right where the Chanticleers play of Coastal Carolina, the supposed baseball team only school. Not anymore. But yeah, I just feel like Appalachian State has a really good history with these kind of bowl games. Every time I see them in a bowl game, it's like every time I feel like they're in it and they're in it to win it. And I honestly haven't seen much from North Texas this year. They're 4-5. Not to say that they suck, not by any stretch, but that quarterback for Appalachian State, Thomas, he's had a pretty good year. 19 touchdowns, over 2,000 yards passing in 11 games. That's not a terrible year. Although North Texas' quarterback, he has 13 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, which is a much better TD to interception ratio. But I'll still take the Appalachian State Mountaineers in this one. Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Yes. All right. This next bowl is coming from the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, featuring my Central Florida UCF versus BYU, who is ranked 16, 10-1. What are your thoughts on this one?
See, this is the battle of the two programs who've been wanting to make a statement to the world, but haven't had the chance. I think I'm gonna have to go take BYU in this one. I feel like UCF's offense is great. Yes, they are great. But, man, that BYU defense, I just feel like that defense has been locking its opponents up, really. Even when they have to go face off against Coastal Carolina. Carolina only scored, 22 points in that game. So it wasn't like it was a, barn burner shootout that BYU lost. Their defense is really good. But obviously, that's going to be the key matchup going up against that UCF offense. I'm going to be excited to see that. Oh my gosh! But I think BYU is going to win.
Yeah, hey, that's definitely a fair prediction. I don't know. UCF in their past few bowl games, they lost to LSU the other year, but in all reality, they should have won that one. But this season, they've had a few tough losses on last-minute field goals, and they almost beat Cincinnati. They were seconds away from beating Cincinnati. Again, their defense let them down, but like you said, their offense is fantastic. And hey, BYU in their last game they lost. I'm gonna take UCF. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise, UCF probably my second favorite team, and hey, that's all being biased right now. I'm being completely biased, but I don't care. UCF, I love their offense. Their defense is definitely it's a problem, and that may be their downfall. But I think their offense can go up against any opponent in the college football. So I'm going to take UCF, and for some reason, in the matchup predictor, UCF is actually favored. So,
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because BYU is in the independent and people don't have a lot of faith in them.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But I've never seen an unranked team favored over a ranked team. You don't see that often.
No.
Not even if somebody's 26th in the country and then 25th.
Yeah, it's very, very rare.
All right, let's go to the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. Speaking of New Orleans, Louisiana Tech and Georgia Southern.
That's definitely an interesting matchup. I Louisiana Tech. I mean, they're 5-4, so pretty mediocre. Nothing too exciting about their record. It's gonna be a close one because Georgia Southern is 7-5, and their quarterback has thrown 7 TDs and 6 interceptions. So, definitely not the greatest. This is wide open. This is a toss up from either, but from what Louisiana Tech has shown, I really do think they will be able to take this one. I do think it's going to be close, but I just see Louisiana Tech maybe kicking a game-winning field goal. Who knows?
I'm going to take Georgia Southern in this one because I feel like don't take the quarterback's passing numbers for granted. He is a dual threat quarterback. He's actually the team's leading rusher, so he can do it both on the ground and in the air. So I wouldn't, count them out. And also, they got a ball hawk in that secondary. Derek Canteen, look, he's tied for second in the nation with 5 interceptions, and he's a redshirt freshman. So Georgia Southern's definitely got some firepower on the defensive side of the ball. And plus, I think the year that the Sun Belt has had, I think I'm going to take them over Conference USA right now. So I'm going to go Georgia Southern.
Hey, that is fair. I'm not mad at your pick, but this is the first of many classic names coming up. We got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl between Tulane and Nevada. Who's taking this one? Who's taking the potato?
I'm going to go ahead and take the Wolfpack. I know, Nevada, being in the state that they are, I feel like, that 6-2 record says a lot about them. And, with Tulane, I mean, they both have the same amount of wins, but Tulane has played 3 more games. So I'm going to go ahead and, take Nevada. Although Tulane definitely has given teams a scare, a la Tulsa in that double overtime game. Wow.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said. Nevada, they're 6-2, and they have played a very, very impressive season so far. I mean, just look at their quarterback, Carson Strong. He has gone off 22 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That's a fantastic ratio. They have some explosive threats, wide receivers and running backs. They are for the most part a pretty complete team. 6-2, like you said. Tulane has played a few more games, but I don't even care. I think Nevada's going to take this one. It's going to be close though, but they will take this one.
Yeah, and Nevada's only 2 losses was a 3-point loss to Hawaii and then a loss to the eventual Mountain West champion, the San Jose State Spartans. So those losses aren't bad. Mm-mm. And that's the big reason why I'm taking the Wolfpack. The Wolfpack are very competitive.
Yeah.
Now, this name might not be all that, but we got the Montgomery Bowl between Memphis and Florida Atlantic. 2 teams that are, pretty interesting, even though they don't get all that much attention.
No, it's definitely. I was very surprised. I thought Memphis would have been a lot better this year. I mean, they went 7-3, which isn't terrible. But last year, they made it to the Cotton Bowl against Penn State, and it was a New Year's Six Bowl. So they kind of, I wouldn't say downgraded because that's kind of disrespectful to Memphis, but they definitely underperformed this year. Again, 7-3, which isn't bad. Overall, I think they are still a pretty good team. That's why I'm going to take them here against Florida Atlantic. I think this one, as well as most of these bowl games, I think this one, I don't know. I'm not even going to say it's going to be close because I do think Memphis is a really good team, and I think they're going to win this one.
Yeah, I'm going to put my faith in Brady White on this one. Although I have had less faith in him earlier in the season, especially when we were picking that SMU Memphis game. But He hasn't had a bad season. He really hasn't. You just look at the numbers: over 3,000 yards passing, and 28 to 9 touchdown interception ratio. That's not bad. So I feel like Memphis, the Tigers are still a really, really good, high-powered Group of Five team that definitely deserves a little bit more respect. But we'll get to that Group of Five conversation later. But yeah, Memphis, I think they're going to do enough to beat Florida Atlantic, but I wouldn't be surprised if Florida Atlantic pulled off the upset. This is a bowl game at its finest.
I agree. This next one is actually a very intriguing matchup, as the records really don't show. But the New Mexico Bowl between Hawaii and Houston, both have Hawaii has 4 wins and Houston has 3. This is interesting.
I don't think I've ever seen a bowl game where neither team is above 500, but that's the year that we are in. That's the season that college football has had. I mean, no team over 500. And not only that, Hawaii is not playing in the Hawaii Bowl.
That's weird. That is that is weird. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see Hawaii outside of the Hawaii Bowl.
Yeah, I'm really gonna be looking forward to seeing that. Although I really hope they get a chance to get Aloha Stadium back, because I really do love Aloha Stadium. Such an underrated place. Used to host a Pro Bowl annually and stuff like that. Pretty good multi-purpose venue, man.
100%. I do like this matchup though. It is ugly and by what the records show, but I don't know. I think Houston, even though they're 3-4, I do think they are a pretty good team. They have obviously they've struggled, but I still think they're going to be able to do enough and beat the Rainbow Warriors.
Interesting. You know what? I'm going to take those Rainbow Warriors and I'm going to run with them, because I feel like Hawaii, they definitely put up a strong, they put up strong fights. Although Houston did take Memphis a distance. In their last game out. So they'll definitely have a fire in their belly. But I just feel like Hawaii, sometimes some of these bowl games is just a gut feeling, you know?
100%, especially when both of us don't know much about most of these teams. So that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Rainbow Warriors. Bowl mania at its finest. Just tossing up Hail Marys.
Yeah, I love it.
Now, speaking of tossing things up, we got a couple of teams here in the Camellia Bowl who would have, could have, should have won their conference championships, but didn't. Marshall and Buffalo.
Yeah, Marshall definitely had a very underwhelming and disappointing end to their season after starting off undefeated, then their loss to Rice. They just really hadn't gotten back on track after that one. Buffalo obviously lost in the MAC championship against Ball State, but I still like Buffalo. I still think they're a good offensive team. Their defense, again, struggled in that shootout against Ball State. But from what I've seen from Marshall, they have not looked good in their past 2 games. They really have not. And that's why I'm going to take Buffalo here. Buffalo's 5-1, Marshall's 7-2. The records don't mean anything in bowl season.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bulls too, man. I think that running game is still lethal. Even though Ball State found a way to run past it, that running game is still lethal. And, Buffalo's definitely had one of those years where they've been really good. Obviously, they don't have the MAC championship on their belts, but they still have had a really, really good season, especially in their own conference throughout the regular season. And, they set records and stuff like that. Jared Patterson's gone off. And, this is a game where I think, Patterson is going to try to make his case for, try to improve his draft stock.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I just really think that Buffalo offense is lethal, explosive. But you know what else is explosive? This next bowl game, which honestly I'm kind of underwhelmed. I think that these 2 teams should have gotten a better bowl, and this one is the FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl between Coastal Carolina and Liberty. I love this matchup.
Yes, I love it. We should have gotten it earlier, but we're getting it now, baby. This is what I like to see. At least the college football committee did something right with pairing the teams correctly and stuff like that. This is a nice matchup.
It
This
really
is
is. It's really nice. I just really wish they would have gotten a better bowl. But hey, I'll take a good matchup over the a name of a bowl, really. But hey, I like this. I like this a lot. Both teams realistically should be undefeated. I mean, Liberty 9-1 and Coastal Carolina obviously undefeated. Very, very impressive seasons from both of these squads. But I don't know about you. I really love Coastal Carolina and everything they've done throughout the season. They have looked fantastic. And I did watch Liberty. I watched their game against Syracuse, and they looked good. So this is really a toss-up. I just think Coastal Carolina is going to improve to 12-0 and have that national championship season. They are going to be crowned the national champions after this game.
Coastal Carolina, the slipper still fits. I'm gonna pick the Chanticleers because like you said, I like what I see from the Flames, and that loss to NC State isn't a testament to how good this team really is. But man, Coastal Carolina, they can beat you on the defensive end. They can beat you in a shootout. They've been winning games all sorts of ways all season long, and I don't see why they can't beat Liberty in the game that should have happened, a few weeks ago. But hey, if it can't be in Conway, South Carolina, hey, it can be in Orlando, Florida. Yeah. Orlando, Florida. Hey. Yeah, that's really nice. Now, this might be the most awkward bowl game that I think I will ever see in my life. A 2-8 team playing a bowl game that fired their head coach and their program is in absolute turmoil versus a team that had just won the Conference USA championship. South Carolina UAB, I don't think I'm picking the Gamecocks at all.
I'm gonna have to agree. No chance to South Carolina gonna win this game. They're 2-8, and they're just lucky that the committee allowed teams, any team who wanted to play a bowl this year, because they wouldn't have even gotten close to getting a bowl selection. But nonetheless, we're here and they're playing UAB. So, I mean. I can only imagine what their coach is feeling right now. I mean, he could either be very glad that he's not going to be able to coach this team or kind of disappointed that he's not there. But who knows? UAB is going to take this one, and you would think it wouldn't be close. You would think it would be a blowout.
Yeah, but hey, who knows, man? I mean, it's bowl season. Anything can happen, really. And I mean, hey, it's Power 5 versus Group of 5, so who knows? Who really knows? I mean, the SEC is already tough enough as it is, but South Carolina is not that good.
They definitely they are not. Again, we got another good matchup between two teams who are still kind of underrated in my opinion. The SERVPRO First Responders Bowl between Louisiana and UTSA. This one I kind of like. I like it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm expecting a shootout. I really am expecting a shootout. I expect at least 30 points from both teams. I'm going to say that right here and right now. Both average over 400 total yards of offense per game. The defenses, both allow over 340 yards per game, so I expect kind of a shootout. They both scored over 28 points per game. I'm just like, okay, got to be a shootout. This is definitely a shootout. But I think this is a shootout that the Raging Cajuns will come out victorious in.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I've really enjoyed what they've done. Again, I feel like them and Coastal Carolina and even Liberty are the three really big stories this season. Three teams who aren't really known for being a good football program, and here they are. They all three made pretty good bowl games, and I just think the Raging Cajuns are going to continue to rage on and beat UTSA. This is going to be a good game, though. I'm really looking forward to it.
Hey, UTSA has played some really good games this year. They've been involved in some classic finishes. I've seen some of them, and it was just like, this team definitely does take you to the wire.
Yeah.
So I kind of hope something like that happens again this time.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay, let me lend you a hand and take you to the LendingTree Bowl. The Georgia State Panthers and the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
This is quite an odd matchup. Probably not one that I would tune into if it was not a bowl game. Um, it's just really another one that is a toss-up. Both teams are very similar. Western Kentucky's 5-6, and that Georgia State they're 5-4. So two pretty similar teams. I'm not sure, but from what I've seen from Georgia State throughout the entire season is that they have a pretty decent offense. I mean, their quarterback has thrown for 2,000 yards, which is pretty impressive. I mean, 9 interceptions, 14 touchdowns, not too bad whatsoever. That's why I'm going to take them here. I just think that their offense is going to win a game that could easily be a shootout.
Yeah, you know what? I'll actually be surprised if this is a shootout because Western Kentucky only averages 18.8 points per game as a college team. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Panthers. And it's so lopsided, too. Georgia State averages 32.7 points per game. That's almost a whole 14 points on average more. And, yeah, I mean, and I would like a shootout. I would like for that Hilltopper offense to break through, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, Georgia Southern's defense is average, but I don't see the Hilltoppers pulling this off. I got Georgia State getting that LendingTree Bowl championship.
Hey, that is fair. Hey, Jotham, what is your favorite snack? Do you have like a favorite snack, favorite chip, or anything?
Favorite chip? I used to really like Sun Chips, but in terms of snacks, I really crave Kit Kats for some reason.
I like both of those things, but you know what I like even better?
What?
Cheez-Its.
Oh,
I love Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its are my favorite. I'm gonna be honest with you, they're just so good. And you know what else is good? This matchup in the Cheez-It Bowl between Miami and Oklahoma State. I like this matchup a lot.
Yeah, two teams that got blown out recently and are still in the top 25. But hey, we got a good bowl game because it's Power 5. But seriously, though, Big 12 versus ACC in the Cheez-It Bowl. This is tough. I mean, the way that Miami got pushed around by North Carolina really, really makes me think that Oklahoma State's gonna, shoot them out. But I'm still gonna find a way to take the Hurricanes in this one.
Yeah,
I feel like their offense is still competent enough to hang with that Cowboys offense, especially without Chuba Hubbard.
yeah. That definitely is a big loss that you just mentioned. But still, Miami 8-2. I think they're a good team. I know they got blown out by North Carolina. That was a very tough loss, but that was their second loss of the season, and I still think that offense it can do damage. It really can, and that's why I'm gonna agree with you and stay loyal to Florida. Go Hurricanes. You.
Oh my gosh, yeah, my econ teacher definitely would be happy. Definitely would be happy with you. This is a bit of a tough one. Texas and Colorado, a couple of Big 12 ties here.
Yeah. This one, this is definitely an interesting matchup. I think it is really good though. Colorado, obviously, they had a tough offseason. They lost Mel Tucker to Michigan State, and to find a way to go 4-1 after, that is impressive. It really is. I don't know. I still think that Texas is a little bit overrated, in my opinion. Still think they aren't as good as they claim to be. But I'm gonna take the upset here. I'm gonna be biased because I lived in Colorado at one point, so I'm gonna just be completely biased here. I'm taking. Actually, never mind. I'm gonna take Colorado, and I'm gonna stay loyal to Colorado right here. I still think Texas is a little bit overrated, but I like what Colorado has done.
I think Texas was definitely overrated too this year, but not overrated enough to lose to Colorado, in my opinion. I think Sam Ehlinger is gonna close out his college career with a dub. I mean, this is it for him, and I don't think he's gonna go out that softly. because
We're
that lost to Iowa.
back.
Oh my gosh! If anything's gonna be back, Bijan Robinson's gonna take them there, but we'll have to see because Tom Herman's coming back next year. I don't know, but I think they'll take it over Colorado.
Hey, that's fair. Hey, like I said, I'm going bold. I'm going bold or going home. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking the upset. But you know what I really dislike on sandwiches? Mayo. Mayo is just absolutely disgusting to me. Duke's Mayo Bowl between Wake Forest and Wisconsin, which is
Should have been Duke.
that would have been hilarious. That would have been perfect. You are right. I don't know, Wisconsin and Wake Forest.
Yeah, I'm not picking the Badgers. I'm going Wake Forest. Even though Wisconsin just reclaimed the axe from Minnesota. That Badger offense is trash. They are trash. And this is the exact opposite for Wake Forest. Wake Forest can put up some points, man.
Yeah, and that's kind of surprising you say that Wisconsin's offense is trash because remember that first game of the season? They were lighting it up. And then COVID hit and then basically derailed their entire season. They finished 2-3. I really don't think that they've shown enough to prove that they can beat a decent team like Wake Forest. That's why I'm going to agree with you and take Wake Forest here. They will take the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Yeah, they might be cheesing the offense a little bit, but dude, literally, that game against Illinois to open the season was a fluke. Illinois went on to fire Lovie Smith. I mean, come on, that team was not all that good, and then they got beat by 35 by Penn State, who was having a down year. Nah, that little jump around, first game of the season, all Graham Mertz 45-7. No, that was a fluke, big fluke. Don't get mistaken by the shirt color. That was a fluke. That was a fluke. Demon Deacons take the Mayo Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Got to be sure to add the sponsors in there.
That's why I got a little bit of the Cheez-It box still in the frame of the camera right here. Got Cheez-It sponsored top of the standings. Imagine the Cheez-It or top of the standings presented by Cheez-Its.
I'm gonna be dying after this. If you're so fond of it, so if the CEO of Cheez-Its finds this episode and you just bring us up. We got you on the sponsors on the Cheez-Its.
I'm keeping your box in the frame. Please.
Okay, let's move on to this is an interesting name. The TransPerfect Music City Bowl.
Very, very interesting. This matchup though is also it's actually kind of appealing. I mean, Iowa has played pretty well this season. They've had a few tough losses earlier in the year, but they definitely regrouped and came away pretty successful towards the end of the season. Missouri, they also, they're just in a really tough conference. They haven't played too terrible. They're just in the SEC, and everyone knows who's going to win the SEC every single year. Nonetheless, I still think that Iowa is a better team. I really, their offense is so explosive, but not even their offense. Their defense can hand out shutouts on any given night. I witnessed their defense personally against Michigan State. Terrible offense from Michigan State, though. Nonetheless, Iowa is a complete team, and I think they will take the TransPerfect Music City Bowl and carry on playing music all the way back to Iowa.
Yeah, I agree. The Hawkeyes, they've won 6 in a row. Probably one of the hottest teams in the Big Ten, if not the hottest, even though Ohio State cheesed the Big Ten again. I'm going to take the Hawkeyes too here, man. The Iowa's been looking really good as of late. And, I think I would take Big Ten over the bottom of the SEC. I won't say bottom, but, kind of like mid-tier.
Yeah.
All right, now here's where stuff gets very interesting because we got the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, even though the same stadium is going to host a semifinal. Oklahoma and Florida.
I really like this matchup too. I also like the Cotton Bowl a lot too. One of my favorites for sure. Every year, just really it features two teams who are very similar, and I think this Oklahoma-Florida matchup, two teams that were just on the cusp of breaking through and making it to the playoffs. Very, very interesting matchup. But I'm going to take Florida. I love their offense. Their offense is really, really good. And to be honest with you, Oklahoma really they escaped. They really did escape with that Big 12 championship. So I'm going to take Florida. I just think everything about their team is explosive, and I think they'll take this one in a pretty good fashion.
Yeah. All I got to say, Marco Wilson, is just don't throw a Sooner shoot. Just don't throw a Sooner shoot, and you'll be good. Look, Florida hung with Alabama last night. They hung with them. That game was competitive.
It was.
A lot of people didn't give Florida a chance after losing to LSU, but you know what? They were in it. Kyle Trask had the ball in his hands last, down by 6, even though you virtually didn't have a chance with that situation. They still were in it, and they weren't out until that last sack.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I just think their offense is really, really good, and it showed that it can hang with any single team in college football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
yeah, I'm gonna take the Gators.
Hey, I know you love to meme Dan Mullen, but hey, I think he has a good team. But nonetheless, we got a good matchup here in the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl between Tulsa and Mississippi State. Tulsa, they had a good season. Realistically, they had a very nice season.
Yes, very. I mean, they are one field goal away from, potentially winning the American, championship. And, they definitely were the comeback kids in that conference. They were coming back left and right. I saw a couple of those comebacks firsthand. The one against SMU, and then the pick 6 against Tulane to win it in double overtime.
UCF as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And coming back against that offense is tough. So what happens when you pit them against the the air raid of Mike Leach? Mississippi State is 2-7. And they beat LSU, and LSU wasn't that good. We thought that was a huge upset, and then it turns out LSU turned. I'm taking Tulsa. Golden Hurricane on the loose.
Yeah, I'm gonna 100% have to agree. I do think that Mississippi State, they've had some tough losses, but in no way are they're not better than Tulsa. Never. Tulsa's good. Tulsa's really good.
But yeah, I just don't see that. I don't see the Bulldogs doing anything. But let's go ahead and shift our attention to Arizona. Arizona Bowl, Ball State and San Jose State, couple of states that won their respective conference championships.
Yeah, this is another fantastic matchup. I don't know. From what you've said, you've spoken highly on San Jose State, like really highly. And from what they did against Boise State, who I thought was a really good team, and just dismantled them like that, I'm going to have to take the Spartans.
The Blue Spartans.
The Blue Spartans. Hey, this kind of looks blue. A little bit.
Oh, my God.
A little bit. Nonetheless, I think that San Jose State is, from what you said, and from what I've seen, they look real good. Ball State, again, they look good as well. But, hey, I got a lot of faith in these Blue Spartans.
Yeah, I mean, the way that these two teams won their conference championships, they should be playing each other in this bowl game. I mean, Ball State was literally so close to not even being there at all. And, San Jose State obviously having a magical season that they're having. It's amazing to see. These are the kind of matchups, unlike the NFL playoffs where you don't want two teams to, that you really want to win to beat each other up. This is the case where you just got to look at it and just be like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, you just gotta hope for a good game. That's really it. You don't want to see a blowout on either side. I'm expecting a shootout, and I'm expecting a good game. This next matchup, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. The Liberty Bowl it kind of always brings something a little bit. This year it features West Virginia and Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm taking the Mountaineers, buddy. Garantano transferring, Garantano, or however you pronounce it, Mr. Jarrett. He is transferring, and Tennessee is starting to get a little dysfunctional again, and going up against West Virginia, a decent Big 12 opponent. Yeah, that doesn't help their cause.
It doesn't, and I'm gonna have to agree. West Virginia, they've looked pretty good this season, pretty decent. Tennessee, not so much. Again, they only got into a bowl because of what the committee ruled. So I'm gonna take West Virginia. I'm hoping for a close game. I'm hoping for a close game on all of these games, but
Yeah,
I don't see it in this one.
agreed, man. These two teams had a pretty good game. Not too long ago, maybe about 5 years ago. They had a really classic game. Arkansas and TCU in the Mercari Texas Bowl. Yeehaw.
Yeah, this is honestly, if these two teams were playing like 10 years ago, it'd be an unbelievable matchup. Really, TCU over the past few years, they really digressed a little bit. In my opinion, they definitely have gotten. I'm assuming less transfers and less recruits. As for Arkansas, they're 3-7. Really, not the greatest record. They haven't had the greatest season. And TCU, I think every year they're going to be competitive. Maybe not as good as in Alabama or whatnot, but I still think they're a good team, and I think they're going to take this Mercari Texas Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. TCU, they've had some pretty good wins too. Especially a one against Texas at Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a pretty good win too. And obviously they almost beat Oklahoma State. They have some good. They have a really good team. Max Duggan, that dude can ball when he needs to, and he's also the team's leading rusher. 10 touchdowns on the ground, 10 touchdowns in the air. He can do it by air. He can do it by land. And hey, that's great. Dual threat.
That is actually very, very impressive. But I don't know about you. I like Chick-fil-A. I mean, I like Chick-fil-A. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's decent, but you know what's not decent? The way that they ranked Georgia over the past few weeks. Why is Georgia even playing this game, bro? Why?
Again, it's interesting. I do think that Cincinnati, it's similar to the UCF situation where they could have easily snuck into the playoffs if the committee wasn't biased. But nonetheless, I like this matchup. I do think it will show if Cincinnati can beat the top of the top. I mean, Georgia this season, they aren't anything like an Alabama or an Ohio State or a Clemson, but I do think that they, year in, year out, they're going to be a good team. So this is a big matchup for Cincinnati in their program, not just this season, but in their program as a whole in these next coming years. If they can figure out a way to go in here and beat Georgia, it'd almost be identical to what UCF did. It really would. It'd be a very, very impressive win, and I don't know if they can do it. I really don't. This is going to be a close game. This may be the closest game out of all the bowl games. Unfortunately, I just don't see Cincinnati pulling it off against this big SEC team. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I really hope I'm wrong. But from what they showed against Tulsa, I mean, don't get me wrong, Tulsa's a good team, but if Tulsa and Georgia played right now, I could easily see a blowout. So I'm going to take Georgia. As much as I want Cincinnati to win, I really do. I hope they do. I just see Georgia taking this one.
AAC over SEC.
Interesting.
That's all I got to say. I'm going to take Cincinnati. Look, we thought that Auburn was big and bad when Jarrett Stidham rolled to Atlanta to face UCF, and UCF pulled off the upset. So I'm not taking anything for granted. But that Cincinnati defense, I think they can handle. I think they can handle Georgia. I really do. Georgia's offense might be a tad bit overrated in my eyes.
Yeah,
I really do.
I would agree with the offensive part, but I feel like Georgia has some very, very, very good defense. I don't know if they can do it. From what Cincinnati showed, sure, the weather was poor against Tulsa. That was a tough game, tough environment. Weather-wise, obviously, they were at home. But nonetheless, this is going to be a very exciting game, and I hope you're right. I really do.
Yeah, Bearcats. And Citrus, too. The Vrbo Citrus Bowl. This is not a bad matchup. This is not bad at all. Auburn and Northwestern.
yeah, for when I saw this announced, my initial thoughts were that these teams are perfectly evenly matched. They're on like the cusp of being decent or not decent. I'll take that back, but a little bit above average and pretty good teams, not great. But I just really like the matchup. I think it's evenly matched. I don't know. Auburn year in and year out, they like to choke, in my opinion. I just really they have these high expectations year in year out. They also fired Gus Malzahn, so that's going to be right before the bowl game as well. That's why I'm going to take Northwestern. I know their offense it didn't really get going in the Big Ten championship game, but I think they'll find a way around Auburn, especially with the loss of Auburn's head coach. I don't see how Auburn can come out here and truly put on a good fight against Northwestern. That's why I'm going to take the Northwestern Wildcats in this game.
I do. I know the answer, and it's Bo Nix. Look, he hasn't had the best of seasons, but you know what? I have faith in Bo Nix. I like Bo Nix. Bo Nix is I think he's a good quarterback for Auburn. And I'm sorry, but the way that Ohio State cramped down on these Wildcats, I don't see how they can win. I'm going to be honest with you. I know they're ranked. I know that the standings are what they are, but I think Auburn is going to pull this one out if it's even considered an upset.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I really do like Northwestern's defense. Their offense is definitely going to have to step up in order to win this one, and I think they will.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we got the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, and it doesn't feature Florida, if you guys were wondering. It features Kentucky and NC State, which it could be a good matchup.
Yeah, I mean NC State is a really good team in the ACC that nobody really hears about. I mean, they're ranked 22nd. Kentucky, down year, but then again, who doesn't have down year in the SEC?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm good. I mean, this could get ugly. This could be a very ugly, defensive kind of shootout. I really do think this could be like a 20-point, game. Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and take NC State.
Yeah.
Because they average 31.1 points per game. So I think their offense will get a couple of timely touchdowns, and they'll be able to hold off Kentucky.
Yeah, I agree. Kentucky hasn't played well this year. They definitely had a better year last year, but NC State they have looked pretty good. I mean, they had a tough loss to Miami, I believe, and this one, like you said, I think it could get ugly.
Yeah, I'm taking the Wolfpack.
Yep, I agree.
I live in Dalton, right?
Okay.
There's like an Outback Steakhouse literally 2 minutes away from me. Literally 2 minutes away from me. Like, if I wanted to, I could walk. I could take a good 5-10 minute walk to Outback. But you know what? I don't need to walk outside for this Outback because it's a bowl, not a bowl of soup, but a bowl of Ole Miss and Indiana.
I like this matchup. I do. I really do. I just wish Indiana was at full strength and completely healthy to make this one perfect. To have what is perfect with steak? What do you, like mashed potatoes? You think?
Yeah, I'll say mashed potatoes.
Okay, so if Indiana was completely healthy, that would be the mashed potatoes to this Outback steak. It really would. But I don't know. I really do like what Ole Miss has done. Sure, they went 4-4, but they've had some tough fought games that resulted in losses, but tough fought nonetheless. I like the matchup, but I like what Indiana's done, and I know you have too. From their first game against Penn State, where that unbelievable finish, I just really like what Indiana's done. They are probably the only team to really give Ohio State a fight up until this point. So that's why I'm going to take them here. It's going to be a really good game, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Hoosiers. Look, Indiana's got a stout defense. Ole Miss has a gunslinger offense. Ole Miss can definitely bring the chicken tenders, but that defense got the sauce to stop them. I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like this could be somewhat of a shootout if Indiana's quarterback situation gets a whole lot better somehow, some way. But I mean, this is a tall task for their defense, man. Because
Yeah.
Matt Corral is a really good quarterback. Uh, you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Rebels. I'm gonna rebel on my pick and take the Rebels. I'm gonna pick Ole Miss. I love what Tom Allen's doing, and if Indiana wins this game, they're gonna be lit. They're going to be lit. But I'm gonna go ahead and take Ole Miss.
Hey, that is definitely a very fair assumption. I really like this matchup, but you know the PlayStation 5 it just released, and I'm sure a lot of kids are gonna get that on Christmas. But you know what else we're gonna get on the 2nd of January? The
Yes.
PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, and this is
Yeah.
a pretty interesting matchup. It's kind of odd seeing Oregon at 25 against Iowa State at 10. So this is a very interesting matchup.
Yeah. Couple of interesting championship, management situations over here. Obviously Iowa State botched that, championship game against Oklahoma. Should have won that game. Oregon obviously got extremely lucky with the opt out, not the opt out, but the COVID out, I will say, of Washington that let Oregon sneak into the Pac-12 championship game and steal, literally, quite literally, steal another Pac-12 title. Because, but is Oregon good enough to beat Iowa State? I don't think so. I'm gonna take Iowa State. And I mean, you know what? You've banked on Oregon all year. You've invested your duck points on these ducks all year, and it paid off in the form of a Pac-12 championship. So credit to you. Now, where are you going with this?
Do you know what game I enjoyed playing as a little kid? Duck Hunt. That's what's going to happen on January 2nd. Obviously, Duck Hunt isn't on the PlayStation, but it is going to be in the Fiesta Bowl. I'm going to take Iowa State. I know they had that tough loss to Oklahoma, but I like what they did. I really did all season. They've had some very impressive wins, one of their best seasons in their school's history, and that's why I'm going to take them here. Oregon, I know they won the Pac-12, and that was a very nice win, but I don't know. I think Iowa State's gonna play Duck Hunt.
You stole my reference from Arizona State last year. I see, not steal, but I like that you took notes. But you know, I'm not really much of a fruit guy, but you know what? The Capital One Orange Bowl definitely is looking real juicy. I mean, this might be my most anticipated bowl game of all the bowl games, including the college football playoffs semifinals. Texas A&M and North Carolina.
I
This is
know you've liked North Carolina all season. I know you have. You've been a big believer, and you've been enjoying your time watching them as a pretty decently high ranked team. And I don't know. They had a very nice win over Miami, sure, but Texas A&M. A lot of people think they got snubbed from that playoff. So I just think what I've seen from Texas A&M, I don't think they'd be able to compete against a team like Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State. So who knows? This may be for the best because I see them taking this one. I really do. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I don't know if it's going to be a shootout. I like what Texas A&M has done. I don't think they would have played well in the college football playoff. So this is a big opportunity for them to show that they might have possibly belonged in that playoff, as much as I really don't think so. But nonetheless, they're going to take this one against North Carolina.
Yeah, I believe they got snubbed too. After that loss that Notre Dame took to Clemson, I sure thought that was going to be just an elimination game, but obviously the committee thought otherwise. Of course they did. But you know what? Sam Howell, I've been very high on North Carolina this year. That big boy blue has shown up at times. Yeah, you can say they had bad losses against Virginia and Florida State, but they've rebounded and they've shown that they can really shoot out. They can show that they can outgun you. And you know what? Not even an Aggie offense can stop Tar Heel team. I'm going to take North Carolina, man.
Hey, I mean, I think
I'm confident in that pick.
it's
I don't
similar
think it's
to
going to
what
be close.
you don't think it's gonna be close. Wow. I feel the opposite way. I feel like Texas A&M's going to blow them out. That's just my opinion. Hey, friendly rivalry right here. Nonetheless, hey, I think I respect your decision to continue and, support UNC as much as I still think they weren't as good as you might have thought they were. Nonetheless, we have a very controversial matchup in the first matchup in the 2020 college football playoff in the Rose Bowl that isn't going to be played at the Rose Bowl, but it is presented by Capital One.
I don't get it. Why do these people get dual sponsorships? You got AT&T getting the, I'm sorry, AT&T's not doing the Cotton Bowl anymore. Capital One's got the Orange Bowl and the Rose Bowl, huh?
Hey, they're making a lot of money, I guarantee that. But I want to hear your thoughts. Do you? I know you don't. But what are your thoughts on Notre Dame? Sneaking in at the 4.
They got clapped by Clemson, bro.
They did.
It took double overtime to beat them at their non-healthiest.
Just a second. Let me sit back, real. I'm gonna, continue.
I don't understand how you lose a conference championship game in a conference that you're going to be probably one and done in. How you're going to go into the conference championship, lose, and still make the college football playoff. I would understand if it was one loss Clemson or if it was one loss Alabama. But Notre Dame, look, I understand they beat North Carolina. And North Carolina has a couple of pretty good wins, especially the one against Miami. But, dude, Notre Dame only beat 2 ranked teams this year. And A&M really only lost to Alabama. And I'm just sitting here like, the latest loss. You mean to tell me that this team, if they got mopped by Clemson, do you really think they're going to stand a chance against Alabama? Because look, Texas A&M had to go to Alabama. They had to go on the road to Alabama. Let's not forget that. A 28-point road loss to Alabama seems much better to me than losing by 24, which really was 31 because it was 34-3 at one point. Losing by 24 to Clemson in the ACC championship game. Now, granted, Clemson does have a history of blowing out teams in the ACC championship game over the past few years, especially with Trevor Lawrence at the helm. But, bro, the Power 5 bias is so real. Even though Texas A&M is definitely a Power 5 team too, the bias is too real with the ACC and the SEC. It's absolutely egregious, and it's so inconsistent. I hate it so much. I want the BCS back. I'm going as far as that because this is absolutely ridiculous. We might as well just have Alabama and Clemson go 1-2 every single year because these teams are getting their chances. Screw the fact that they say recruiting is not fair because it's the same teams get being in the top 5 in the recruiting classes, alternating between Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, stuff like that. Dude, come on, man. Notre Dame did not deserve that spot.
It is unfortunate. I do think that this Notre Dame team was a lot better than the team that got blown out the first time against Clemson. But nonetheless, I just don't think that I don't see them being competitive against Alabama. I don't see them even being competitive against a team like Florida. Because essentially, Florida and Alabama both have extremely, almost identical explosive offenses. Really very, very similar. So after Notre Dame got blown out by Clemson, imagine what Bama's going to do to them. Imagine. I get the selection. That was their only loss. Sure, I get it. But I would rather see a team like Cincinnati get in there or even Texas A&M because they both deserved it. They both won. They both did their part. Notre Dame got blown out, and I just see them getting blown out once again by Alabama. That's why I'm going to take Alabama here.
Of course I'm going to take Bama, dude. There's no way I'm taking Notre Dame. Point blank. Look, I like Ian Book, and I've never hated Ian Book like most other people do. But man, look, Alabama's defense is not as good as it normally is. It really isn't. Although they've gotten better, as of late. But they're not the same. It's not the same team that can only allow 10 points per game and stuff like that. It's not the same.
Mm-mm.
This Alabama team, though, the offense makes up for it significantly. This is like the college version of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
A quarterback who is, really good in the pocket, but can scramble out and make plays. Got a bunch of receivers that you may not have heard of, but you know what? They're really good, and they're gonna make you hear their name. Even with injuries, they're going to make noise because they're doing this without Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Who is easily probably the best wide receiver in all of college football. But nonetheless, I just think that this Alabama offense is the best maybe that we've ever seen. I really do. Just they are complete. Their offense is entirely complete. Good O-line, good quarterback, good wide receiver, good running back. They're complete. They're literally. It's going to be tough for them to lose in these college football playoffs. It really is.
Yes, it's going to be so tough. Last year Ohio State Clemson had that insanely classic Fiesta Bowl. Great finish, amazing game. This year, I don't know. I think we might get something in between what happened in 2016 and what happened last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. From what I saw, it's Ohio State against Northwestern. Like I said, on top of the standings, the episode on Sunday, I really just don't think they played all that well. I don't think that the score did them justice because they didn't score a touchdown in the first half against Northwestern. Northwestern lost to Michigan State, who finished with 2 wins, right? So that is it's embarrassing for Ohio State. And to see what Clemson did, full strength, against Notre Dame, think of what they're going to do to Ohio State. Like you said, I don't think this is going to be close. I don't. I think it would be exciting if we saw another shootout and very close game, but I just don't see it happening. Clemson's too good.
Now, Nolan Turner won't be able to play the first half of this game. So Justin Fields will have one more opportunity, to get really a chance to pick out that Clemson defense, at its not so best. But, dude, I don't know. Justin Fields has been a bit shaky.
He has.
He's been shaky. Throwing end zone interceptions, throwing bad interceptions, making not so good decisions. It's not the OP Justin Fields I'm used to seeing.
It isn't.
It really isn't.
It isn't at all. It's really odd too because he started off so well. Oh, Heisman favorite, blah blah blah. He has not looked good. He really hasn't, and I just can't wait to see Clemson. I'm not an Ohio State fan, and I know you absolutely hate them. I want to see Clemson get this blowout win. I really do, and I want to see Clemson, Bama, 2 very very fantastic and explosive teams.
You know what? I sense irony because I actually wouldn't mind Ohio State winning this game.
Really?
Yeah, I would. Between seeing Clemson lose and seeing Ohio State lose right now, I think I'd rather see Clemson lose. I know that is an absolute shocker as much as I hate Ohio State, but you know what? When I see a hump, I sometimes like teams to get over it. And you know what? Ohio State is a clear underdog. And my underdog rule is reigning supreme right now. I think if the Buckeyes get healthy, they can be competitive. But they're not going to be Clemson. They're not. I hope I'm wrong.
I was going to say, do you think they can be competitive against a team like Alabama? I don't.
They're going to have to revert back to last year's form if they want that to happen.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I just don't see it. I'm hoping for a blowout. I want to see Clemson, Alabama, Part 2.
Yeah, and not only that, they don't really have all the weapons that they had last year. Now, granted, Chris Olave did not play. So that's why I'm saying the Buckeyes really need to get healthy for this game, which they have a couple of weeks to get healthy. That's a good sign. But man, you better be locked and loaded and ready to go against Clemson, or you're gonna get mocked.
Exactly. Hey, I think we'll leave the college football championship. I think we'll leave that to episode 22 when it is set.
Yeah, 22.
Because the championship is on the 11th, so we'll be back and we'll be ready to predict the potentially very intriguing and exciting matchup. I'm looking forward to this bowl season. This was a fun episode, and I got my Cheez-Its.
Oh boy, yeah, I get it. We get it, man. You love your Cheez-Its. Cheez-It sponsors, come get us. You know what I'm saying? We can get you we can get you some sponsors, we get you some extra money. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, Cheez-Its, man. You gotta love Cheez-Its. Oh my gosh, man. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this Capital One Bowl Mania special, this college football bowl special, give us a like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Give us that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star rating. Hey, I can do it without boxing gloves this time. This 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any streaming device you're using to listen to Top of the Standings or any of our specials. Obviously, give us some follows on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the big trifecta of social media. We'll see you guys in January where we got the real stuff heating up.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
see you.